Okay, now here's one from the I Talk to Dead People file. Joe Biden this week had a long conversation with the president of France, who died in 1996. I'm on a Joe Biden kick this morning. I got to show you what happened in Las Vegas. He went there for a campaign stop a couple days ago. And in his speech, he told a story, which is a great story, about sitting down with the president of Germany. Then he reminded himself it wasn't the president of Germany, it was the president of France, Francois Mitterrand. And he was talking about how Mitterrand, during the G7 meetings in Europe, had talked about America's coming back and Joe Biden is leading America back and on and on and on and on and on. I'll show you the video and then we'll talk about it.
You know, right after I was elected, I went to what they call a G7 meeting, all the NATO leaders. It was in south of Finland. And I sat down and I said, America's back. And Mitterrand from France looked at me and said, you know, how long are you back for? And I looked at him, and the Chancellor of Germany said, what would you say, Mr. President, if you picked up the paper tomorrow in the London Times, and the London Times said, 1,000 people break through the House of Commons, break down the doors, 2 bodies are killed in order to stop the election of the Prime Minister. What would you say? I never thought about it from that perspective. What would we say if that happened in another democracy around the world? And the whole world watched. The whole world watched. And what's going on? Well, guess what? It's not going to happen. You know what's going to happen if he loses. He's going to lose. You know, this guy has an interesting vocabulary. He calls immigrants vermin, poison the blood of the. It's hard to make this up.
Okay, so let's talk about some facts. So Biden is talking about a conversation he just had with the president of France and the chancellor of Germany, who he confused with the president of France. And they were talking to him about, since he's become president, how America has come back. And Francois Mitterrand, president of France, was very complimentary. There's 2 problems. Francois Mitterrand left office in 1995. To make matters worse, he died in 1996. 1996, he died. So this entire conversation with the president of France, who he thought was the president of Germany, but it wasn't, never took place because the guy's been dead since 1996.
But Barry, have you not heard what Joe said? Have you not heard what he said?
What did I miss?
I see dead people.
That's a great one.
I mean, that's what it is. And you know, it's interesting because Peter Doocy asked Karine Jean-Pierre about him making that comment about him being dead for so long. And Karine Jean-Pierre just goes, look, Joe Biden has been to Europe. He's been to France. He's been to many different places. That's all I have for you on that.
Yeah. And then she added, and then Peter Doocy goes, but Mitterrand's been dead for almost 20 years. I'm sorry, almost 30 years. And Jean-Pierre said, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. Next question.
Yeah, because she's listening.
How do you defend?
You can't.
You know, I hate to say it, but when my parents were really old, and they're not with us anymore, they used to imagine things when they get into their 80s, and it's called dementia, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It happens. You know, the brain gets confused and you're not quite sure who you're talking to. And, you know, sometimes the people that passed are still talking to you in your mind. And people like that deserve really good care, and a nursing home where someone will take care of you. You can't be president of the United States when you're like that.
Because someone can come to him and confuse him and say, Joe, they actually they're shooting nukes at us now. You've got to retaliate quickly. Someone can do that. He said, what? You have to do it now. You can't hesitate, sir. You can't hesitate. You have to do this now for our defense of America. And he said, okay, let's just do it. I mean, they could really do that to him.
It's 100% a realistic premise.
It is.
From which the country would not ever, and I mean ever, recover. He is so incompetent.
Yes.
Forget his policies. He's not even mentally there anymore. He imagined a conversation that could not have taken place with someone who's been dead since 1996.
And unless you can see dead people.
Okay, well, all right, fair enough. Maybe he's got certain abilities. Maybe.